Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man in America. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse. Welcome to this Friday night show. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. And we've actually got a fun show ahead of us. I know that a lot of the shows I've been doing recently have been heavy. I mean, that's the reality. The world around us right now is heavy. It's dark. There's crazy stuff going on. You can't even look a year into the future with some predictability because there's just so much chaos. But amidst that, there's actually really good things that are going on. And we're going to be hitting on a lot of those things tonight. And it's funny because I was originally going to be covering as one of my topics, cannibalism and voodoo as it relates to cats and animals. And as I was looking and researching, I thought, you know what, I'm going to lighten things up a little bit. And instead of doing cats and cannibalism and voodoo, I'm going to do cat memes and cat songs, which are going to be a lot of fun. I've got some really great stuff towards the end of the show we'll be getting to with that. Before we get started, though, make sure if you're watching on Rumble, especially, first off, thank you for supporting Rumble, this free speech platform, but make sure you hit that green follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, please go join us over on Rumble, where we can talk about anything that we want to. That's a big thing. And I'll just do a big shout out to the Rumble team as well, because Rumble has just been amazing. And it's actually allowed me, as someone who's heavily censored on things like YouTube and Facebook, they've allowed me to grow and turn this into something where I can reach a lot of people, which I'm so grateful for. So, all right, folks, before we jump in the show, just a few quick messages for you. First off, a very, very honest and serious question for you. Are your savings safe? So with every passing day, the value of the dollar erodes, weakened by overprinting and rampant inflation. And now, as the BRICS nations accelerate their de-dollarization plan to collapse the dollar, the risk only grows. Imagine waking up one morning to find your hard-earned savings worth only a fraction of what they were. And it's happening faster than you think. But you have a choice. A simple shift, one decision, can protect your wealth from the collapse. So moving even a small portion of your savings into gold and silver could be the key to securing your future. Look, gold and silver have stood the test of time. They're record prices right now. They're not just metals, they're safe havens, impervious to the whims of inflation and economic turmoil. So while the dollar loses value, gold and silver are standing strong. And the time to act is now, folks, before the dollar weakens further. Safeguard your savings with noble gold. Imagine the peace of mind knowing that your wealth is protected, that you'll have assets to pass on to your children. It's simple, it's safe, and it's something you can do today. So folks, move some of your savings from the vulnerable IRAs and 401ks into the enduring strength of gold and silver, because when the dollar fails, you'll be glad that you did. And honestly, there's no better company to work with than Noble Gold. So protect your future, act now. Call 626-654-1906 or visit goldwithseth.com to get your free gold and silver investment guide. Again, it's 626-654-1906 or goldwithseth.com. And those are also in the description below. All right, so jumping into the first thing that we are talking about tonight. So if you know me, I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment. And there's always unlimited arguments about why guns are bad. And, there's a huge debate, as you're probably well aware. And what used to be, something that they'd say, why do you need a gun to hunt deer? Why do you need a 30-round magazine clip to hunt deer? People are waking up to it. But actually, there's a woman who I've interviewed before, Lily Tong Williams, who's running for, I forget exactly which position she's running for. It might be Senate or Congress. I forget what it is in her state. She just won her primary, but she's at a meeting, and I believe that she's talking to David Hogg. So if you're familiar with David Hogg, he's one of the major anti-gun voices. And I want to start with this because if someone ever asks you, okay, hey, why do you believe in the Second Amendment? Why do you think that we need guns, right? Why is it so important to you? Like, this is the answer that, in my opinion, is almost impossible to argue with. So I'm going to play this for you really quick because this is going to, I think it's going to help us kind of get the show kicked off tonight. So here we go. This is Lily Tong Williams. All right. Actually, so she was, okay, so sorry. She's running for the House of Representatives, and she just won her primary in New Hampshire. So check out this video. It's about, it's 56 seconds long.
Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my Live Free or Die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold the communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the US, in DC, will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of CCP. Hi.
Yes, there you go. I mean, and that's it. It's interesting because as I've evolved in my understanding of the Constitution and of America, right, as I've kind of entered into this place that I'm at in life, where I'm reflecting a lot on these things, I'm sure as you are as well. One thing I've been really thinking about is the role of the Second Amendment. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it. Like I thought that it was, it was something that, for hunting, and it's good for us to have guns. It's part of American gun culture. And, you need to be able to protect yourself from bad people. And I started, earlier on kind of fitting into the perspective of like, well, the good guys need guns because if you take the guns away from the good guys, the bad guys still have them and they're going to use them against you. So, the criminals, they've already have illegal guns. Like it's a big part of their business is buying and selling illegal guns, guns with the serial number scratched off of it, right? That's or ghost guns that are printed, 3D printed, etc. There's a whole industry of illegal guns. And actually the biggest client and seller and dealer is oftentimes our own government, right? Go look at the Operation Fast and Furious. So that was off my perspective, but actually as I've I guess matured in my understanding of the world and everything, it's really about this. Like she nails it with that statement. She's asking, and you can ask someone like this, right? Ask any of your friends or the same question. If they say, hey, why do you believe in guns? It's like, well, let me ask you a question. Can you guarantee me that the United States government will never become tyrannical? Can you guarantee that? And I think that any rational person would say, no, I can't guarantee that. Like, how can I guarantee that the government would not become tyrannical? Like, I don't control the government. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Maybe they don't become tyrannical right now. Maybe not in 10 years, but in 20 years and 30 years. If you look at the history of the world, it's there's lots of examples of powerful empires and powerful countries that have freedom and everything that end up falling into tyranny. So it's not that far of a stretch. And so to me, and this is the perfect thing. So if your friend that you're asking, like, no, I can't guarantee that. How can I guarantee that? It's like, yeah, that's the point, is because no one can guarantee it. And in fact, not only can you not guarantee it, if you look rationally, you see that most of the signs are pointing towards that. And in that instance, it's like, go read Solzhenitsyn, right? Go read some of the stories of people in Cambodia or communist China, of how well they did without being able to defend themselves against soldiers. And that's the thing, is that you can't really make up much of an excuse for that. So anyway, I wanted to start with that because I think it's just such a good point for a discussion that it's rational. And that's the other thing I've come to as I've expanded my understanding of the world and studies, and especially through doing this as Man in America, I've just learned so much because I interview so many brilliant people. And the one thing that I've understood is that when you have the truth and you have logic, you don't need to spend a lot of time arguing with people. Like they might want to pull you into arguments that are emotional, but you just go back to your facts. You stay really calm. And, so say someone's attacking you for guns and gun violence and all that kind of stuff. It's like, look, like, as a father and a husband, it is my job to protect my household. If, another question you could say is like, do you believe that there's a chance that sometime in the future that some sort of enemy, some sort of hostile enemy could invade America? Right? But it happens, right? Like we're on the brink of World War III, as we'll be covering today. And it's like, that's the same thing. Like that's what, I had a family member that was in town from overseas, and I was talking to them, and they're more liberal and they don't understand the gun culture of America. And I remember, explaining to him why I'm very pro-gun, because for a lot of people outside of America, they think that we're crazy redneck gun nuts. And I was explaining, I said, look, like it's for the same reason why I have a lot of food set aside. If something happens in our country and there's a foreign enemy on our soil, as the head of the household, it's my responsibility to protect my family. And if I'm like, you know what, I don't want any guns because, guns are bad and they give me like the icky feelings. If that's my perspective and someone comes to my front door or, someone breaks into my home with the intention of harming my family, of harming my wife or my 2 young daughters, and I don't have a way to defend myself and they have evil brought upon them, it's my fault. The buck stops with me as the head of the household. And I explained this to him, and actually it was hard for him to argue. It wasn't really who he was trying to argue. He was actually trying to understand what the gun culture is like here in America. And it's like, look, it's the same reason why I have all this storable food. Because if there's a grid down scenario or something that happens and I can't go to the grocery store anymore, like if my family starves, it's my fault as the head of the household. It's my fault for not preparing. It's my fault for not seeing the potential of that and reading the signs, like reading the tea leaves and saying, yeah, there's actually a pretty decent chance that there's going to be food shortages sometime in the next 5 or 10 years. So, okay, well, I put aside this food. So anyway, that's how I look at it. And to me, these are rational arguments, right? So that's the beauty, is that when you have taken an honest and an earnest journey to find the truth and to discover truth, and you're looking for not as a confirmation bias. You're not seeking out truth so that you can just confirm what you already know, but you're genuinely looking to change even your own notions about how the world works by just understanding things. You arrive at a point where you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that my worldview is pretty close to the version of truth. Now, of course, you can never be absolute in that, and I accept that. But when you are very honest in your seeking, in your researching, and you're willing to challenge your own ideas and entertain ideas that are actually very different than how you think and what you believe in, I really believe that's a journey of getting closer to truth. And that's what I do. Like, it really is genuinely what I do on this show. I walk you through the journey that I'm going on to figure out what's going on in this world. And I am sometimes wrong. And I encourage you to do your own research. And if there's one thing that I can impart in you with this show, it's just that you should do your own research. Do what I do. Like, go and dig and put together things and look for references and cross reference and use your own gut to tell you what you think is good or not. So anyway, continuing on though, as I talked about, World War III. So this is actually a pretty important topic that really needs to be discussed. And taking a step back, what I see happening is that there are the deep state, NATO, whatever you call this creature, it really, really wants World War III. Right? Because for one, it really helps to cement their presidency as and this is something that, as far as I understand, that you've never had when America's at war, we've never had a president voted out amidst that period. Now, things have changed a little bit now that Biden is out of the picture and Kamala's back in. I think that maybe if we entered into war, you'd see even more people going towards Trump than Kamala, because they'd be thinking, I don't trust this woman as a commander-in-chief of the army. Like, I want that Trump guy who's like, I'm going to blow up your house if you're a terrorist, okay? But it's something we have to look at. So I'm going to pull up a few things. So a very important article that came out a couple of days ago. Actually, I see Sue Smith saying, I wonder how many years worth of eggs Seth has freeze dried. I see a Rumble comment there. And actually, that is true. So I will admit, we don't have our chickens back yet. I'm going to build a new chicken coop in the spring since we moved. But, back in Ohio, we had, I think up to about 50 chickens. And I discovered, actually, I'll come back to this article real quick, but I discovered in the process that, 50 chickens lay about 40 eggs a day. And I had, at that point, it was myself, my wife, and my little daughter. So there's no way we're eating 40 eggs a day. So we ended up getting a Harvest Right freeze dryer, because you can freeze. I could freeze like 100 eggs in a single batch. So to answer your question of how many years worth of eggs, like I've got boxes and Tupperware boxes of Mylar sealed bags of freeze dried eggs. So we'll be having omelets well into the future if there's a food shortage. So anyway, thank you for that comment though, Sue. I love these interactions. So back to the article I was going to tell you about here. White House finalizing plans to expand where Ukraine can hit inside Russia. Now, this is really important, and I've got 2 more videos to show you after I go over this article a little bit that shows you Putin's reaction to this, and also the reaction of Polish politicians and officials reacting to Blinken being over there. So basically what this article is saying is that there's this exclusive article on Politico saying that the talks have been closely held among a small group of officials inside the White House. And as I understand what they're saying is basically that they are discussing, in essence, giving Ukraine permission to use British and U.S. and NATO missiles inside of Russia, right? So basically, you look at it, it's okay. So Ukraine is a proxy. It's a proxy war. So that's what the discussion is. It's come out that basically within a day or so of this discussion, Blinken was supposed to be announcing that they've approved something or some sort of formality of saying that, look, Ukraine can now use these missile systems to strike inside of Russia. Now, I want to show you Putin's response to this. And now, this is a post from Ian Carroll who says, listen to what Putin says very clearly here. This decision to strike with long-range weapons would be literally the start of World War III. They would lie to ignorant Westerners and say that Ukraine was just defending itself and blame escalation on Russia. They want war. They always want war. This is why I'm not voting Democrat anymore. So actually, Ian used to be like a very strong liberal, major Democrat. He says they become the party of war. So this is an exchange with Putin and a reporter. And I'm going to, so the subtitles are in English, but the audio is in Russian. So I'm going to keep the volume a little bit lower, and I'm going to read the subtitles because we have a lot of podcast listeners, or if you're watching this on video, but you're cleaning the kitchen, this is on the background, you're not going to miss out. So I'll turn the volume down a little bit, and I will read what these subtitles are saying here. So this is really important, Putin's response. The report says, in recent days, we've seen and heard very high-level discussions in the UK and the USA about the Kyiv regime being able to strike deep into Russian territory with long-range Western weapons, and it appears that this decision is either about to be taken or apparently has already been taken at all. And this thing, of course, is extraordinary. I wanted to ask your comment on what is happening. So Putin says there's an attempt to substitute concepts because we are not talking about authorizing or banning the Kyiv regime from striking across the entire territory. It's already striking with the help of drones and other means. But when it comes to using high-precision, long-range, Western-made weapons, it's a completely different story. The fact is that I've already mentioned this, and any experts will confirm that both in our country and in the West, the Ukrainian army is not able to strike with modern long-range precision systems of Western manufacture. It cannot do this. It can only do so using intelligence from satellites, which Ukraine does not have. This data is only from EU satellites or from the United States. In general, from NATO satellites. So this is the first thing. The second, and very important, maybe the key, is that only NATO servicemen can in fact enter flight assignments into these missile systems. So Ukrainian servicemen cannot do this. And so this is not about allowing the Ukrainian regime to strike Russia with these weapons or not. It's about deciding whether NATO countries are directly involved in a military conflict or not. If this decision is made, it will mean nothing other than the direct participation of NATO countries, the United States, European countries in the war in Ukraine. This is their direct participation, and this already, of course, significantly changes the very essence, the very nature of the conflict. This would mean that NATO countries, the United States, European countries are at war with Russia. And if that is the case, then bearing in mind the change in the very essence of this conflict, we will take appropriate decisions based on the threats that will be posed to us. So hopefully you got all that, through my reading of the translation. So what I took away from that is basically what he's saying is that, look, this isn't about, it's a lie to say this is about the Western countries giving Ukraine permission to use these missile systems to strike inside of Russia. What he's saying is that the Ukrainian servicemen, the Ukrainian army doesn't have the capability, nor the information, nor the satellite access or any of that kind of stuff. They don't have the capability to fire these long-range weapons systems and missiles into Russia. And he's saying that it's only through NATO, European countries, or the United States actually using Ukraine as a proxy to fire missiles into Russia. And so he's saying that if they do that, right, and this is what is expected to be announced. I don't think it's been announced as of filming this, that Blinken hasn't made this announcement, but the Politico report is saying that they intend on making this announcement. So what he's saying is, look, if they make this announcement, if they carry this out, that it's a proxy war. It's the United States or NATO or the European countries basically using weapons systems that they put into Ukraine, and they're the ones that would be pulling the trigger and firing those weapons into Russia, which would mean that the war has now gone from being directly Ukraine and Russia to something where it's literally the United States sending missiles and basically blowing up parts of Russia. Like this becomes World War III. Like that. This is how close we are to being in a World War III, and it's frightening because what when he's saying like this changes the nature of it. Yeah, it does. Like, Putin, he's not dropping missiles on America. He's not, I know that there's been reports of, like, say, Poseidon missiles, and there have been reports of different weapon systems, and they've got warships that were near Cuba. So there's obviously a lot of posturing and a lot of pre-war activity, but he hasn't done anything. But if the Ukraine, as a proxy for the NATO or the U.S., if they're launching some sort of ICBM or something into whatever weapon system they have, and they're shooting, they're blowing up part of Moscow or whatever it is, that's World War III. And he's no longer, if I understand it correctly, he's no longer just focusing his efforts on Ukraine at that point. And my concern is that China, the CCP, has been backing Putin with his actions in the Ukraine. We also know, and I've covered a lot, how there's a lot of indicators that China and the CCP want to destroy America. So that's my concern, is that if the U.S. does this, hypothetically, say, they give permission, and then say, Ukraine then fires some sort of missile and blows up part of Moscow, it's kind of the equivalent of the U.S. sending out a warship, firing a missile, and blowing up Moscow. My concern is the retaliation, because maybe then Putin or the CCP says, hey, look, this is fair game, right? The United States just attacked Russia on Russian soil, so we're going to return the favor. And then, folks, you've got nuclear war. So going back to the earlier state where I said, yeah, like, do I have guns and food because I feel responsible for protecting my family? It's like, go watch Red Dawn. Not the new one, not the one where they changed it from being the Chinese to the Koreans. Go watch the original Red Dawn where it was the Soviets invading America, and ask yourself, if you're a person, like, that's a very real scenario. A lot of folks think, oh, there's no way they're going to attack America on American soil. Folks, if it's very, very likely, right? And I've studied this extensively. It's like, okay, if I was a CCP and if I was Russia and my goal was to bring down America, I'd launch an EMP. I'd hit him with an EMP. That's it, right? Even the military grid will not sustain what it needs to that. And I've done extensive interviews on this with Jonathan Hollerman in particular, who's one of the experts on EMP and on the state of our grid in America. All it takes, and China and Russia both have the tech, right? So does Iran. A lot of countries, North Korea, they have the tech to do an EMP, probably a nuclear EMP overhead. They fire it up, high up in the atmosphere, and it blows up, and the fallout basically destroys all electronics. So if they did an EMP first, that's what I do. Like, if I was in their shoes and it was like, okay, here's how you get rid of America. Do an EMP. Give it 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Within 4 or 5 weeks, the entire country is complete chaos. Like, complete chaos. No one, most people don't save food. They're not preparing for this kind of stuff. So do the EMP first. Let the whole country just kind of descend into chaos. And after about 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you bring in the troops, clean things up. it's a very real scenario. I'm not trying to be a fearmonger, but like as I just showed you, like we're on the edge of a World War III scenario. Now, I hope and I pray that that won't happen, but I don't want to ignore it because I don't like to talk about uncomfortable things. So I do want to. I have one more video to show you though. I mentioned. So this is actually here's a post. This is from Laura Logan who says this is absolutely staggering. When have you ever heard anyone on the planet deliver a public rebuke of this nature to a sitting U.S. Secretary of State? That's a big FU to the deep state. So I'm going to play this really quick. So this is what it's saying is Polish people are concerned the USA is about to start World War III. So the Polish MEP Braun is talking about Anthony Blinken visiting Poland today. So listen to his words here about this.
Blinken, go home. Go home. As soon as possible. Get lost. Get lost. We don't want you here. We don't want Polish people paying and dying for your wars. Thank you very much. Blinken, go.
Yeah, so he's saying, and he's speaking very honestly there, right? He's like, look, Blinken, get out of here. Like, don't pull us into World War III. We don't want to send our young to die. And if you look at Poland, actually, I think it was actually Poland that just authorized the use of live ammunition for protecting their border. Whereas in America, it's like, hey, open the border, come join us. Hey, are you from a gang? Are you from a violent gang in Venezuela? Great. Here's a debit card with some cash on it. Here's an apartment you can take over. Here's some free food. Like, this is kind of what's happening in America. Whereas Poland, different leadership, they literally, I think this just voted into law that now they're going to be using live rounds, right? So if there are people coming across the border, they'll just get shot. Like, that's how you close the border, right? It's like, that's how you do it, folks. I'm not saying that we should go shoot a bunch of migrants. I'm not saying that. But if you have a country to protect and there's criminals coming across your border, it's a pretty effective method, right? To me, it's the same thing as there's certain countries that if someone gets caught abusing children, it's either the death sentence or chemical castration. Like, there's certain countries that I think that if someone gets caught molesting children or raping children, it's the death sentence. And the rate of pedophilia is extremely low there versus California, where you get some sort of star and you get an award for it. And they're passing all kinds of laws to make it even easier to do these things to kids, right? So, it's kind of crazy stuff. It's just, so I hope and I pray that we don't get pulled into World War III. And my gut tells me we won't. Like, that's just my gut, right? And watching this stuff play out, I just feel like it's not going to happen. But I could be wrong, right? I'm wrong about a lot of things. So, all right. So, continuing on, actually, so we've got, we're going to talk a little bit about MAGA now. But before we get into MAGA, I do have one other message for you. So, folks, I want to talk to you about something really important. It's your hearing health. Okay. So, as you get older, it's easy to overlook your hearing, right? Like, now I'm in my late 30s. I still hear, thankfully, but getting your hearing checked is actually really crucial because a lot of people actually have undetected hearing loss, which can lead to social isolation, depression, even cognitive decline. And that's why it's really, really important to take action early. And that's where Hear.com comes in. So if you occasionally notice that you're asking people to repeat themselves or you don't hear your phone ring, you may want to get a free hearing consultation from Hear.com. So Hear.com has over 400,000 happy customers. They offer an industry-leading hearing aid developed by German engineers. It's nearly invisible. It can transform your life. It connects to your smartphone. It's great. Also, they've got a 45-day no-risk trial that you can take advantage of. So go to hear.com/Seth. Okay, it's the website. Go to hear.com/Seth. Set up that, get your free hearing assessment and look into it. Okay, so it could really change a lot of things for you. So again, that's hear.com/Seth. All right, so continuing on though, there's a video that came out. Let's see, let's pull it up here for you. From Nicole Shanahan, right, who's RFK Jr.'s running mate, and she calls it who really are the MAGA people? And it's a 2.5 minute video that I'm gonna play for you that I really like it. It's something that, like, I almost feel like that MAGA is not political anymore. As much as there's people that say, yes, it's absolutely political. What this video shows, I think, is in a lot of ways, it's the essence of it. It's this desire to go back to America to what it was. It's these people that have these memories of, I'm sure you do. It's like I do as well. Like I remember, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 86, right? So I grew up in the 80s, mostly the 90s. But I remember as a kid riding my bike around the neighborhood and not worrying. And I see like my parents and the stories of them and how they grew up and what life was like in the 60s and the 70s. And then even my grandparents, what life was like for them coming through the Great Depression. And so I think that in a lot of ways, Make America Great Again, it's about returning back to those roots. But I want to play this video for you. Again, it's 2.5 minutes long because it really sets up our next thing, which is going to be getting into Biden and like the question of like, is Biden actually becoming pro-Trump? It's a weird thing, but I got some stuff to show you on that. So let's go and watch this video first, though, because this is it's just beautiful, and I love how it's done. Let's check it out.
Across the Atlantic in the North American country of the United States lies a fascinating and often misunderstood collective. From its northeastern cities to its midwestern towns to its expansive west, this courageous group of individuals are most notably known for their unwavering patriotism. Join us as we explore the fascinating world of the MAGA people. As we embarked on our journey, we were judicious in taking all necessary precautions. Our media had warned us that these were a vicious, radical, and even deplorable people. Contrary to what we had been told, we found the MAGA people to be warm, loving, and even rather cheeky at times. As we spent time with the MAGA people, we learned that their mantra, "Make America Great Again," is an optimistic belief that the United States will once again prosper by returning to its founding principles of a government by and for the people. Under these beliefs, the MAGA people strive to protect America's Constitution, freedom of its citizens, health of its people, and a yearning to restore the American dream that existed not so long ago. Notice their rather wholesome, familial demeanor. They often talk about their love of family, the importance of truth, and a desire for basic human rights. As they strive to uphold the peace and harmony throughout their communities, the MAGA people are insistent on protecting their borders. However, they are not inherently confrontational, as they advocate for ending the wars and military presence abroad. Further observations reveal that MAGA people come from all walks of life, including farmers and ranchers, family-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, health advocates, blue-collar workers, and military servicemen. And just recently, the MAGA people joined forces with another group, the MAHA people. Together, the MAGA and MAHA have started a movement to make America healthy again. As we departed back to our native land, we couldn't help but reflect on all that the MAGA people had taught us. Once perceived as a dangerous and barbaric group, we found ourselves feeling enlightened by the MAGA's moral, ethical, and honest ways of life. One could only hope that a similar movement would eventually emerge for us.
I don't know. I love that. Obviously, like it's really catchy. Just the vintage looking footage of it, and it's like a video as if they just discovered some tribe in the Amazon. But it's nice because it wasn't political. It wasn't about politics. I mean, obviously to a certain degree it was, but it was really about just this belief of like I just want to live my life. This is America. I want the rights given to me by God. I want the ability to speak freely. I want the ability to raise a family and have a job and build a business if I so wish. And that's it. It's actually really simple. And then if you combine the MAHA, right? So you have the MAGA tribes and the MAHA tribes have been joining forces for a new transformation of America. It's like, yeah, the MAHA, the make America healthy again. I mean, who can argue with that? Right, let's get rid of seed oils. Let's stop, chemtrailing everything, and there's a whole number of things. Bring justice to the criminals in the FDA and big pharma. So anyway, it's just a beautiful video that I wanted to share with you. But what's really, really interesting, which I want to get into, is Joe Biden. And look, I'll admit, for a lot of the show's coverage, I haven't thought very favorably of him. But there's something that interesting that happened, and I think it to me it sparks a broader discussion. So on a tour, I think that Biden does this kind of 9/11 tour. He goes to these different spots and everything, and there's one particular place that he goes to that's very conservative, and so they intentionally they always wear Trump shirts and everything when he goes there, and it's kind of funny. But I want to play this video, and maybe you've seen this already because it's really gone all over the place, but take a look at this because this is really interesting. And I'm going to turn the sound up so you can hear it because I'll let you watch it and I'll give my comments on it. So check this out.
Trump hat, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure, I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're old part. You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're an old part, right?
I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer.
He reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm the only one.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
You know my name. Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah, you said you would do a selfie. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now. You old fart. Huh?
Just remember, no eating dogs and cats.
Hey, they're good.
Thank you.
They're good. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I hope you like the pizza.
Huh?
You guys picked the place to get. I don't know where it's Chinese.
I'm not sure what your response is to that, but when I watch that, it's like he's actually funny, and he's even joking about the dogs and cats at the very end of it. He's like, "Hey, remember, don't go eating dogs and cats." I mean, he's mocking this whole situation, but I think it's in a way that's positive towards the Trump camp. And you see him interacting with that old guy, and it's funny. And the fact that the fact that he went out and put on a Trump hat. To me, there's a few things that come out of this, but for one, here's what I think is I think that he's angry that he got shoved aside. Right? I think that you could see, right, as we were leading up to the debate between he and Trump, you saw the attacks on him. And it's very clearly, if you look at the two debates, it was very clear that one debate hosted by CNN was designed to make Biden look terrible, right? As kind of the pieces I put together, that the intention of that debate was to set the stage for the removal of Joe Biden so they could bring in Kamala. Now, if you look at the most recent debate, it was obvious that whole thing was rigged. It was 3-1 to make Kamala look really good and make Trump look bad. So it's very apparent. And it's funny is that even in the debate, with Trump and Kamala, he says he was kind of referenced the fact that Biden's really upset at Kamala and that they kind of threw him out. And there's been a lot of discussion of this, but he kind of got tossed to the side. And so you look at this and it's like, gosh, I wonder if he's now become like this loose cannon where he's this old guy, he's got nothing to lose. I mean, he'll be lucky to live there 10 years at that age. It's just the reality of it. So it's kind of like those people that you have these folks that were like CIA contractors or they work for the government and they get to be they have cancer at age 80 and they're like, you know what, who cares? I'm spilling all my secrets. There's underground tunnels, there's aliens, all that crazy stuff that maybe you've seen. So you look at this, it makes me think maybe they've lost control of him and maybe he's bitter. He's bitter that he got pulled out of his position because he wanted to be president again. And he kind of got tossed to the side like spoiled meat. It was kind of like, okay, we're done with you, meat puppet. We're going to throw you to the side. And he's been hanging out on the beach. But it makes me wonder if he's doing this on purpose. Now, it could be, look, I know that he's got calling to decline. And it could be that he's just not really 100%, in terms of his actions and everything. But, I mean, he could also be very well aware of what he's doing. And he could be trolling Kamala. I mean, be trolling the Democrats by saying, look, you guys kind of screwed me over. So now I'm going to endorse the big guy, right? And even funnier, there's a video that was shortly after that, I'll pull up for you, of, this is from DC Drano, of Biden walking up into Air Force One carrying a red hat. Now, there's people that were saying, "Oh, it's a MAGA hat," but I don't think it is. But here's DC Draino's take. He says, "Is Biden carrying a MAGA hat?" No. Is he carrying a very similar red hat in front of cameras to send a message to Kamala? Yes. Looks like Biden is starting his revenge tour. And this is that's the exact sentiment I have. So I'll play this for you. I'll leave the volume kind of low. But you can see him walking up the stairs, carrying this red hat. And the thing is that Trump owns the brand of red hat, right? There's only one red hat. Like if you see anybody in public, if I see anybody in public, if I'm at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and I see someone wearing a red hat, I pretty quickly think, is that a MAGA hat, right? And a lot of times it is, right? And I'll look at it and say it is. So the fact that he's carrying this red hat up the stairs, I mean, I agree. It's has he started his revenge tour? And honestly, who knows? The thing is, and this is, it's an important lesson because let's take a look at this real quick, is that we have identified a lot of enemies of the people, right? And I think that there's a lot of folks that would say that Biden is an enemy of America, right? That he did terrible things to America. But a lot of people are controlled. And I'm not giving anybody a hall pass, trust me. But there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people in these positions are controlled. Some of them are literally CIA mind slaves. Okay, and I'm actually working on setting up an interview with someone that was part of the CIA. That was literally he's a CIA whistleblower for MK Ultra programming, and he explains some crazy stuff in some of the interviews I've seen with him about how they turn people into mind slaves, MK Ultra mind slaves, and then put those people into positions of power, political, entertainment, celebrity, etc. So there's a lot of these people that they might not even actually be in control. Literally think about it. As much as let's just take a particular politician that we hate, right? And you think, okay, I hate this person and they're anti-American, etc. Well, what if that person was born into an SRA family, a satanic family that was in cahoots with the CIA, and what that person was tortured since they were 2 years old, right? Which, if you look at MK Ultra program, it's how it works, right? It's physical abuse, it's sexual abuse, it's verbal abuse, and it starts at a very, very young age, toddler type age. As it gets them to splinter their personality, right? You get into disassociation. If you want to go back and watch my interview with Kathy O'Brien, it's a great interview. But what they do is that process causes disassociation, which then the person retracts and retreats so far into their being because of the torture and everything that they can then splinter that person's mind into multiple personalities. And the person that is the true owner of the body might only be 10% of what's actually happening in that body. But they can load different characters into the personalities, right? So it's almost like multiple personality disorder, but it's controlled. This is it's science, right? If you study this, it is scientific how well they have the ability to do this. And so you look at these politicians and I don't know, it's one question I have is that person an MK Ultra mind slave? Are they not even in control? You look at some of the celebrities, look at Britney Spears, how she's acting now. It's very apparent that she was some sort of mind control slave through drugs and who knows what else. And her programming is broken now. And it's I feel bad for the girl, right? But you look at Biden, it's maybe something's snapped in him. And what do you do if he ends up playing a positive role? You know how powerful that would be if Biden comes out and endorses Trump? Even him taking a picture with a MAGA hat. That's huge. I honestly, I bet the Democrats who saw that would be freaking out. They're are you kidding me? This guy just walked into this place and put a MAGA hat on and smiled for the camera wearing a MAGA hat. It's almost comical. It really is. So anyway, I just think it's comical to say the least. So now we're now going to have a little bit of fun. Okay. So if you watched the debate and you saw that Trump talking about how they're eating the pets, they're eating the cats. So even though the hosts, they tried to fact check Trump, it was a very poor fact check for one, right? Because Trump's like, hey, look, they're eating cats, they're eating geese, and they're eating people's pets. And I think it was David Muir, I think it's his name. He was like, no, look, like we checked with the Springfield manager, and the Springfield manager told us that that's not happening. It's like most people know that doesn't mean anything. Also, a quick thank you for Steve Explos on Rumble, just donated $20. Thank you so much. Like that's it says have a great weekend, Seth. Thank you. It's very kind of you. I appreciate that. So anyway, so they try to fact check Trump during the debate and say, look, it's a conspiracy that they're eating the cats, and they're kind of mocking him for it. But the reality is that what happens when someone does that, when someone says that, makes an outrageous claim like they're eating pets in Springfield, if a lot of people are saying like, well, I'm going to go look into that. And the crazy thing is there's so much information coming out about it that they can't hide it. So it's become very obvious that it's true. And actually what's happening is they're finding dead, mutilated cats like in Texas and all over the place. And there's all this other information coming out and saying, yeah, a good chunk of the Haitians practice voodoo, and animal sacrifice and eating animals like cats is actually very common in voodoo. So there's a very high likelihood that it's true. This is my show earlier this week where I talked about the voodoo and the rituals and what it means and everything. And so, but what's crazy though is that there's just become this massive viral movement, and even Biden's making fun of it, right? Even Biden is joining in and saying, hey, don't eat the dogs and the cats. There's this huge movement of people that are just using this as this lighthearted fun, but like it's done in a way that it's really positive. Like it's like engaging a lot of people. And so anyway, so for instance, if you go onto Twitter, I'll pull up here, you search for MAGA cat. Like the funny thing is you're getting all these pictures like these, they're and no thanks to AI, right? But you have all these photos of people that like, cats for Trump. There's T-shirts. There's so much stuff that's coming out, and these things are going super viral, right? Here's a T-shirt right here, right? Cats for Trump 2024, right? Because it's the whole thing. It's like, well, Trump's going to save the cats from being eaten. So this guy's awesome. And here's a little AI video of Trump holding a cat. It's kind of like, what's funny is the whole thing, as much as they tried to make this about mocking Trump and exposing him as being a liar, it's backfired. And now you have these viral videos of like, they've turned Trump into the hero that saves the cats from the savages. Like that's what's happened with this. But it's just interesting. So there's a post from Scott Adams that I think I want to read to you because he really hits it home. He says, I'm revising my debate scoring. My first impression was a tie, which I call it a Harris victory. But the only thing I recall about the debate today is they're eating the dogs. It's visual, it's scary, it's viral, it's memorable, it's repeatable, and directionally correct in terms of unchecked immigration risk. It's the strongest play of the election. Trump won the debate. He says, I got to stop underestimating his game. Trump had no base hits in debate, but his long ball is still rising. Incredible. And he makes it's a really, really good point, is that, like you watch a debate, and it's like, okay, what do you remember? It's like, I watched it. I did a live stream of it. I don't remember the exact discussion points. Like you're left with those little sound bites. And if you have one of those that goes viral, it's like, that's all people know. So like right now, the only memory of the debate is the cats, Trump saying they're eating the cats, right? And what's even better about it is that people are making songs. So this is a real treat, okay? This is a real treat for you. So it's a 2-minute song that was produced by this guy. Let's see, what is his name? The Kiffness. This is who did it. So kudos to the Kiffness. Okay, and so I'm just gonna play this for you. It is so good. It's so funny. And it's so positive. It makes you excited. It makes you happy again, right? That's the beautiful part. Is like you watch this, and it's like, it's like there's actually some fun stuff going on in American politics. It's not just like dirty attacks and smear campaigns. Like there's cool videos about cats. So anyway, I'm gonna play this for you because I got such a kick out of this. So listen to this. You're gonna love it. If you don't love it, I don't know. I don't know how you wouldn't be able to love this. Check it out.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
People of Springfield, please don't eat my cats. Why would you do that? Eat something else. People of Springfield, please don't eat my dog. Here's a catalog of other things to eat.
They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I don't know. I saw that and I listened to it so many times. I brought Kate in the room. Like, Kate, you got to listen to this. And she loved it. And she's not easy to please with music. Trust me, she's a musician. She's got very, very distinguished taste that she's like, only likes this stuff. And I saw that and it's so lighthearted. It's so just fun. You know, like it's like, and I know it's a serious topic. And like if I had a cat and someone ate it, I'd be really, really upset. So I'm not mocking those people. I feel bad for those people, but sometimes you have to laugh about this stuff because it allows you to kind of have that pressure relief, which is like we're all so stressed out these days, especially people like you and me that like we know what's going on and someone's oblivious and they're following their sports game and it's like, hey, Seth, why are you stressed out these days? And it's like, well, because we're up against a totalitarian one world satanic system that wants to enslave us all and put chips in our heads and, give us central bank digital currency and take everything that we own and make us slaves and kill off half the population with, bad medicines and chemtrails. And it's like, this is all spiraling in my head. So it's like, but most people, it's like, what's up, Seth? And it's like, oh, nothing, just deep in thought. Right. But you have something like this and it's like, oh, fun. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. I get to dance a little bit and get a little groovy with it. So anyway, I thought that was so good to share with you. And I've got one more video that we're going to round up the episode with, which is just full of positivity. But before we jump in that, just have another quick message for you. So folks, look, as I just mentioned, there's a lot to worry about these days and there's a lot that keeps us up at night. And honestly, sometimes I've got a really hard time falling asleep, but ever since I started adding magnesium breakthrough to my nightly routine, I've been able to quiet my mind and get the best sleep ever. So unlike other magnesium supplements that you might be giving you, one of two forms of magnesium, magnesium breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium designed to help you calm your mind and fall asleep. All right, so I'll bring this up for you. So if you are struggling to calm down and get a good night's rest, I highly recommend Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers. So folks, don't miss out on the most relaxing sleep ever with Magnesium Breakthrough. And for an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/wholehouse, HOLEHOUSE, my last name. So bioptimizers.com/wholehouse and use the promo code wholehouse during checkout to save 10%. And if you subscribe, not only will you get amazing discounts and free gifts, but you'll make sure that your monthly supply is guaranteed. And honestly, folks, too, when you support these advertisers, like I'm independent media. So when you support these companies that are willing to say, you know what, I'm going to support like this conservative channel that's willing to kind of speak the truth, you're helping me. It helps me stay on air. So whether it's gold and silver or storable food with Heaven's Harvest or these other companies, these are what keep me going. This is like, I'm doing, 4 or 5 shows a week. We're growing. This is why. So I appreciate that. So as I told you, as I mentioned, I've got just a really beautiful video to end with that I think is just shows our shared humanity. And I don't know where these people fall politically, these people in the video, because it doesn't matter because they're all human. But I want to play this for you. It's 2 minutes and 56 seconds long. Because it's just, you'll see it. Just watch this. I'm going to full screen it too, because I think it deserves the full screen treatment.
The
Mr. Sam,
Hey.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure to serve you today.
Sean?
Yes.
I don't have my wallet. I can't pay. Can I run home? I live 15 minutes away. I'll be
Have
back.
you checked, is it in your car or anything? Like-
It's not in my car. I have a tile like attached to it. It's
right.
it's at my house.
You're sure?
Yeah, positive. It's 15 minutes away. I'll be there and back. I'll get there fast. Give me 25 minutes.
I appreciate that gesture, and thank you for sticking around to tell me.
Oh, of course, man.
Because often, like, it's just walk out
Wait, that happens?
frequently. Like, yeah, it's.
What happens in a situation like that?
Well, there's a few things, and walkouts usually reflect on the person who is taking care of the guest. So,
Oh my
trying
god.
to like come up with other policy, but it's we're corporate business, so I can't really like make any changes. This is kind of just the way that they always run things. So, I can't let you leave without paying. Because that would, even if you were to come back, and I totally 100% would take your word for it, but it would be considered a walkout.
Oh no. How can we?
I'm actually, this has been a great encounter, Mr. Sam. You've been awesome. Like, I really appreciate you, and I hope you come back sometime.
100%, man. You're amazing.
Please don't stress about it. Just know that I'd be happy to cover it for you.
Are you serious?
Like, it's like $25 or something, and
Oh, dude, yeah, it's $24.92 here. Can you hold this real
I
quick?
get paid at midnight anyway, so it's like.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
You'll pay
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I'll cover it.
Give me
Don't
1
worry about it.
second.
It's all good.
Give me 1 second. Here you go. 25 bucks.
Yes.
Make sure that'll cover?
$25.
Make sure it'll cover.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
There's your tip. God bless you, man. Look. Look, you've been amazing. Your service, out of this world, man. You're a rock star. And I wanted to make sure that you knew that you're appreciated. God bless you.
Are you? I don't even know what to say right now. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't.
Hey. Thank you. You're amazing, seriously.
It takes one to know one. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Oh no, I see that, and I just love it. Like that guy. It's like, look, maybe that guy's like a very different politically than the person that's filming. It doesn't matter, right? You can tell. It's like anybody that's working as a server like that, like they're struggling to get by. They're not. They're not living it up. Now, maybe if someone's working at like a Michelin star restaurant as a server in New York City, whatever, like, yeah, maybe that's something where they're really bankrolling it. But your typical server, like these service workers across the country, like they're struggling. Like Americans are struggling. And you see, I'm not sure how much money that was in that wallet there. Maybe it was, $1,000 or something like that. Who knows what it was? But like his reaction to that, like that's kindness. Like, and it's just, anyway, I saw that and I was really moved by that, because I think that it's really important for us to fill our minds and fill our worldview with those types of stories. Not only, right, but just to remind ourselves of just the simple things that we can do to be kind to others, and how much a simple gesture like that can really change someone else's life and really make them feel just a lot better about themselves and better in their life situation. Not to mention it might pay their bills, or you have no idea what people are struggling with these days. So anyway, I just want to share that with you, because it's what I'm trying to do here at this show. Is I'm trying to share with you the things that I think are important, and the news and information that impacts me and affects my worldview, but also reminds me, like the things that remind me of the importance of just being human and being kind and just being someone that, like, if I interact with somebody and they leave, they're like, man, like that was a really nice guy. Like, and if I can make somebody think, wow, like there's still good people. Like there's still good people here on earth. like, that's good, because maybe that will encourage them to be good the next time, and maybe they'll pass it along. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you, and I do hope that you enjoyed the episode today. I had a lot of fun. I'm tempted to play the song again, like the Donald Trump cat song, because I had so much fun with that one. But just thank you all for being here. It's just so lovely to have everyone here, and I'm so blessed to have this opportunity to speak to you all, because like, these are crazy times, and being able to look at what's happening in the world rationally and approach it with a calm manner and with a non-divisive way of kind of framing the world is really, really important. It's really important because we have to come together as people. Like, we have to come together as the American people. We have to get past this partisan divide that's happening in our country. And it doesn't matter what someone else is saying about you, turn the other cheek. Right? That's what we got to do. We have to overcome, because it's like, if we give in and we start hating, one side of the political aisle, and we hate them like it's your fault, that's exactly what the deep state, that's exactly what the cabal, it's exactly what Satan wants, right? What Satan wants is to take, and it's to look at America, take this large Christian population that, is trying to, bring about morality and everything, and then create this other segment that can make this large Christian population so angry that they fill their hearts with hate towards the other side of the aisle. And if we allow that to happen, we're following the devil's plans. So that's why it's really important. I really try to keep myself in check with this. I try to hate, people that think differently, and I try to have compassion for them and say, look, like, they've been brainwashed by the most sophisticated brainwashing mechanism the world's ever seen, which is true. Like, that's what's happened. So anyway, I thank you all for being here. One other thing is that if you do want to support me, and you want to support me directly, for one, just coming and watching the show is huge. Sharing the show is huge. But my locals page. So if you're on Rumble and you want to go join my locals page, it's something that I'm going to be adding a lot more content to. It's been a little bit bare, but I'm going to be doing a lot more with my locals heading up soon. And actually, what I'm going to be doing with locals is, and you can join it without paying too, but if you want to support, you can support on there. It's like less than $10 a month, the support options. Maybe it's like $5 or $8 or something. But anyway, I'm going to be posting a lot more of my personal stuff on there. So stuff with like me and my family and how we're living and how we're, going through our journey together of raising my children, right? I've got my 3-year-old turns 4 in like a week and a half. And my little daughter, Grace, she just turned 7. Actually, tomorrow she's 7 months. She was born February 14th. And I want to share that with you, but these are things I'm not really comfortable sharing, like on Twitter and Telegram. It's much more personal for me. So if you do want to get closer and have some interactions with me and see behind the facade of the studio and all this, locals is a great way to do it. So if you're watching on Rumble, there's that red locals button or pinkish red locals button right there. Hit that, join the community, and I'd love to see you there. And I'll be I promise you, I'll become really active on there. So, all right, folks, thank you all for being here. This is it for the week. I'll have more great shows starting next week on Monday, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you come back. We have some great content coming. So again, thank you. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you next time.